Oh, welcome back to the Old Bull and Young Calf Boston Sports Podcast. We are uh, recovered from the marathon. If it's like we were on a stream marathon, Dad, it was wild, and we wouldn't have wanted it any other way. We wanted deep playoff runs. I wanted even more with the Bruins, but it definitely needed some detox time. How are you feeling, Dad? Do you feel rejuvenated on the podcast front coming into this
I
episode?
feel absolutely amazing. You look good, young Cav. You feeling good? You
I'm
look
feeling
like a
good.
champ. I don't know. You look like a champ. You feel like a champ?
I feel like a champ. I feel very much like a champ. So much so that I went out and
Hmm.
bought a 2024 Finals championship official gear from the Boston Celtics. I mean, my buddy who went to the game for game one, he's like, Do you want me to get you a shirt?" I'm like, "No, no shirts, because we do not
No,
buy conference
I am
championships.
getting mine.
We do not buy finals. You know, you know, participant shirts in New
No.
England. So yeah, I was super jazzed about that. I feel so good and relieved.
So thank you everyone who tuned in for all of those, like my son said, marathon pregame shows, postgame shows. What an amazing ride. Our first year doing this. We actually get to celebrate a championship. That was terrific. You can go back and, check us out on the channel, all those old episodes if you like, relive them and hustle stacks.
Yes.
Yes, our neighbors. We gotta join
Yep.
up like the Avengers. We gotta join up with those guys
Listen,
someday. Absolutely.
he like is literally your neighbor because I'm pretty sure he lives down in Tampa or Clearwater, at least at one point. And if you're looking for more content, you can't get enough of this, New England sports area title town content. You can certainly check out Parlay with Us on YouTube. They're kind of our like brother station over there. We have similar
Mhm.
numbers. We put out similar content, and I love those guys' takes. Sometimes I go, I got to steal some content from them whenever I'm getting dry. They they got some good
Yes.
takes over there, so definitely check out those guys.
Yeah.
And we're super excited to be here. There's a lot to talk about. This is a segment that we've kind of leaned heavily on when we were doing the weekly episodes, and that's buy and sell. It offers us the opportunity to kind of do what ESPN does with all those part of my take stuff and everything, where they touch different subjects and get your opinion on each, right? Pardon the interruption, I think, was the big one. I don't know if you remember that. Mike Wilbon, I think, remember watching that as a kid.
Mm.
So we're bringing that to you. We're doing it live. Um, Dad, any comments before I show him the big board of the different things we're going to touch on?
We're gonna mix it up really between the four Boston sports. We only have one subject for the Red Sox. I do feel like they were worthy of one subject, and I'll explain my reason why. So we're gonna do that. But also, people, if you think of your own buy and sell, throw it in the chat, and we'll address it. The young cab, the old bull, we'll tell you if we buy and sell at the end of the towards the end of the podcast. And yeah, let's have some fun with this. So hopefully we get some
Yeah.
viewers in here and they throw a couple of those at us.
Yeah, and I even have like a little section. We'll see if we get to fill it out. But if anybody has any buys or sells, if we get any comments, we can take your answer and drag it up here into the into the buy and sell. So you'll have your voice heard if you do chime in with any of your thoughts. So don't you worry about that. We'll have the record. Especially a lot of the stuff is going to be futuristic. A lot of the stuff is going to be talking about what we anticipate based on the changes made. How do you guys feel about the
Mhm.
directions the Red Sox are going? So I'll touch on this real quick. I think the team, the Red Sox, is going in a great direction. The player, but I think the front office doesn't have their back. And you one of these cards down here, that's a little bit of a hint. Will kind of touch on the Red Sox and what we think is real or not real with them. So the first one, we're gonna just go right in with the champs, right? My dad talked about it. How does it feel to be a champ? The Celtics made all of us champions, and over 1 million people attended that parade, which was awesome. So this first one, it's a little thing from Kung Fu Panda. It says, "Finally, a worthy opponent. Our battle will be legendary." So this buy or sell, Dad. The question is, or the statement is, the New York Knicks are now the most worthy opponent for the Celtics in the East. Are you buying that, Dad, or are you selling that? And Hustle Stacks, are you buying it? Do you buy that the Knicks are now the team to beat for the Celtics and vice versa?
Well, I don't want to preface my answer because I'd like to see what the Sixers do with all that cap space. So this answer can change, but as of right now, They are. They are our number one competition. And on top of the additions that they've made, the Knicks in general always give us a hard time. I know we went, I believe, 4-1 against them last year, 3-1, but they're always battles. We almost never blow those guys out. And before last year, they usually had a winning record against us. There's something about, again, Randall is a Celtics killer. Brunson is a Celtics killer. Randall has the best games of his career against us for some bizarre reason. But the good news is that even though they got Obi Anobi, whatever I can never say his name, him and Bridges, those two generally struggle against us. So Obi in Toronto, never he had some of his worst games against us consistently. And Bridges in New Jersey, again, he almost never impressed me because there was times when I just didn't think he was special. And but here we are though. Now those guys are surrounded by teammates who are better than them. So the Celtics can't devote as much defensive attention as they would probably like to those two. So they probably are going to be generally better. So now with their starting five, and as long as they can keep a couple of their key bench players, I feel like they are going to be our number one competition in the East. I'm buying it.
I think that's a good take, and Hustle Stacks agree with you. He agrees with you. He says, "I'm buying it right now. I think Philly and Milwaukee will make moves. Then we can talk about that more. It's going to be an arms race. The Celtics they did this last year. The Celtics getting Drew Holiday, getting Porzingis. Everybody was like, we got to shore up our defenses, our borders. We cannot have this Celtics team just creating nukes left and right with this starting five. And I think what the Celtics have done is they've changed the game, right? It's almost, and this is actually really interesting, right? When the Celtics won in 2008, what did they start in the NBA? The big three, right? That was the way you ended up winning championships for years after that. The big three. Now you have the Celtics changing up the script again. And now it's about the big six or five. It's about getting a well rounded starting five and starting six. And now this is what the Knicks are to the field first of the field to do this because the Bucks they don't have a starting five, right? Half their starting five probably comes off the bench on on some teams. They're like they have Lillard and Giannis, right?
Yeah, they got
76ers,
Middleton.
they got
When he's
Middleton,
healthy.
the ghost of Middleton, and but they don't have a well-rounded starting five like the Celtics, and I think
No.
the Knicks have joined that starting five, well-rounded group. And of course, just like us, it's about health. And that Knicks team is loaded now with injury-prone guys. Bridges is the opposite end of the coin, where he never gets injured. But you have Randall surrounded by shooters. You have what you should anticipate in one of the better duo defensive wings with Bridges and Ananobi. So it's going to be very interesting to see. So I'm going to buy it. It's an arms race. We'll see. I don't know how financially the Bucks and the 76ers are going to fill out those starting fives, but I think the Knicks are going to be scary. I don't buy that they're going to be healthy. So that's of course a separate one. But yeah, no, Dad. Any other thoughts on this buy or sell?
No, we're good. Let's move on to the next.
All right. So next up, we are going to be moving into the hockey portion of this, and we don't have too many of our hockey viewers in right now, so it's a bit of a bummer, especially my buddy Tim. A lot of our viewers, Andrew, came over with hockey that are not just our friends. So this one's a little handshake here, and the statement for this, Dad, is the Bruins trade of Ullmark will be worth it in the long run. Are you buying that or are you selling that?
I am absolutely buying that. I have a problem with the return they got, but they needed to do something about this goalie tandem. And it's funny because, the old bull cried all year, last year, right at the beginning, we need to trade one of these guys for more scoring. And what was it we could have used more against the Panthers? Scoring. And there was Allmark sitting on the bench collecting cobwebs and doing nothing. So I'm not crazy about the return. And people, whoa, you don't get the depth now. And I don't care. Who cares? The Busey guy is supposed to be pretty good too. This bum they brought in, I mean, hopefully they could flip him and get rid of that salary. That was my biggest problem with the trade, is taking on this bum's $3 million against our cap. That doesn't sound like much, but in hockey, people,
Oh
$3
yes,
million is
it's a lot.
significance. It's a hard cap, and the cap's not very high. So, but yeah, it's a move that needed to be done. I wish it could have been better. I wish they held on to Omar. Now that the Edmonton series is over, maybe they could have made a run at Drysdale, and Omar could have been one of the pieces. Him, Carlo, whatever we have left for draft picks, maybe Patras. We maybe could have threw something together for Drysdale, who only has 1 year left with Edmonton. But nope, that would have been a major trade chip for them, and we gave that away. So much for that
Yeah.
trade.
So I think this is really strange because you said you bought it, but you just gave almost all my reasons on why I sell it. I think that
Yeah,
this was rushed in some major ways. I don't think Olmark had to be out the door. I don't think he was toxic. I think there was a great relationship there between him and Swayman. I think that waiting long term was going to be better just because the trade deadline, right? If Omar comes out in the season and he plays really well, the trade deadline, we have an opportunity to shift him. And this is my buddy Tim's take, Tim Hilliard. You've seen him in here, is wait till the trade deadline and move him. The problem is that we were being sold a bunch of garbage from the media. Omar's value in the league must not be remotely as high as what we were, believing, because initially we were being told over and over that the Cheshin guy, I don't know exactly his name, from Ottawa, was in the deal and all this stuff. And we pretty much got the 25th pick and $2 million of salary relief for Olmark. That's about it. The forward we got is like a bottom six forward that I think we can ship down to Providence and save like 800K on his contract. So I sell this so hard. I think that the Bruins trade of Olmark is not going to be worth it in the long term. I think that if you had told me this was the best offer we were going to get all year, I probably would have just told you, just ride it out with him and let him finish out his contract with us. Um, I don't know if they 100% did not sell high, and so I'm selling this. I think that it was a knee jerk reaction. I don't exactly know what the long term plan is, and they better hit with this 25th pick because, um, I mean, seriously, Dad, like we really needed something to supplement this roster, and I don't think we're going to get it out of the 25th pick. That's for sure.
yeah. Hindsight's 20. Who the heck knows, right? If if we held on to him, I would not have. I disagree with you. I would not have wanted to road out the year with him. Absolutely not. Not unless that's somehow translated to a cup, which I just don't see happening. So, I mean, if we do find out that that's the best they could get somehow, which there really is no way to tell, you just gotta hope they score on that 25th pick. I mean, a first rounder, even though it's a late first rounder, it's not nothing. Okay. Generally, when you get to the trade deadline, if you're a contender, usually you want a good goal scorer is up in age and he's like a rental. He's a one less than only the rest of the season left. It's going to take usually a first round pick. So a first round
Yeah.
pick's not nothing, but I agree with you. I was not crazy about the return, but I would absolutely still rather have this deal than hold on to Omar and let him just walk in free agency.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like you said, it's easy to look at it in hindsight. We of course don't know what would be on the table later in the year, or or what has been on the table. So we don't know if they've let some deals spoil on us, but I don't know. I feel like, we did a poll on our community section on YouTube, and people talked about how, don't salary dump Allmark. And I feel like this was pretty much a salary dump. I don't think the 25th overall pick in hockey is nice. But it's, hockey's kind of a crapshoot. You can get, we've gotten great talent in the second round, right? So, I mean, we'll see. Time will tell, but I definitely would not be jumping all over trading them like they were. It felt like it was super rushed. Like you said, you could have at least waited until the Orioles Oilers series was over. So, all right,
Yeah,
Dad, we ready to move on to the next one?
let's do it.
Okay. So the next one is a familiar image, and we have pushed this image out of our mind as we pursued winning. But this is going to be the way it is until proven otherwise. The tank. The statement here, Dad, and my dad brought this up, regarding sports books, power rankings, everything. The statement is the Patriots are going to finish with the worst record in the NFL next year. Are you buying that or are you selling it?
Oh, I am buying it. I'm
Oh
sticking with
man.
my prediction from when it was clear they were not going to go after high priced free agents and try to get some explosiveness, some speed in here, talent. As soon as they made it blatantly obvious that was the case, I don't know if you remember my warning. It was Youth Patriots offense was bad last year. It could be even worse. And as their defense goes, they were okay. They were good. They weren't as good as we thought they were going to be. They did have some injuries to deal with, but again, I just offense was so bad, and schedule's even worse. Our wins because Aaron Rodgers missed the season. He's going to be playing both games. I'm buying. I'm buying that they're going to be, uh, bottom of everyone's power rankings. Vegas has them as the number one favorite to get the number one pick. I, I don't know if they're going to be big, but I'm anticipating them being.
Yeah, I mean, so here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna it's not for the reasons you think. I'm gonna say a sell. And the reason I'm selling here is because I don't think we're lucky enough to finish with the worst record in the NFL. I just think we're gonna find a way to squeak out some wins. Um, you got teams like the Commanders who I think got pretty bad. Jaden Daniels is going to be really interesting to see how he fits in that offense. They do have a much better wide receiver in McClellan or whatever his name is. He's actually a stud, but it's going to be interesting to see him and also the Bryce Young experiment. I just don't think we're lucky enough to finish in last place because I would absolutely love it. Next year is not a year where we're going to make any sort of noise in the playoffs or get close to the playoffs. So I'm just concerned that our defense, and you talked about this defense, Dad, uh, pretty almost historic defense last year from this team, and now they're going to be adding back their two best defensive players in Gonzalez and Judon, and of course that's going to make a lot of things interesting on that. And I think that a lot of teams are going to have a hard time scoring on us. So yeah, I'm not buying that we're going to finish with the worst record in the NFL. I think this is a big year for Mayo. I think he has no intention of pursuing that. And I think there's other teams that just care a lot less. So they'll find a way to trip and fall and lose more games than us.
I mean, I hope you're right, because I don't want to be in the middle of the pack. I don't want to be missing
Yeah.
the play. If I'm not going to make the playoffs, I don't want to be in the middle of the pack. But don't, as much as I was a Belichick basher, don't discount his X's and O's ability. And the Patriots lost that, and they only won 4 games last year with that, and they don't have that anymore. So, I mean, I don't know. Feel like Mayo, the play is going to be more motivated. Let's see if that translates into wins, though, because they're taking another step back with the X's and O's as well.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. And like that defense, right? Who knows if that was just a product of Belichick being Belichick and Mayo cannot reproduce it. So we kind of had a exodus of coaching talent, and not too
Yes.
much bringing on of actual football talent. So, or at least not as much as we wanted. All right. So the next up is one of our final basketball segments. So here you got a little crossroads here. The statement is, Dad, the Celtics need to make no additions this offseason. Only retain Tillman, extend White, and possibly Hauser. So if the Celtics go into next season, Brissett, of course, is gone. Svi is gone. Any of their unrestricted free agents that will get more than the vet min are gone. But they bring in Tillman. They of course keep White and Hauser because they're going to keep them anyways. Is that all they need to do, Dad? Do you buy that is all they need to do, or should they be more aggressive?
Well, I had a super hot take on the Celtics, and because it really coincides with this, I'm just going to spill it right now.
Okay,
Which
everybody get
is,
ready.
yeah, the Celtics, especially after the Porzingis news, which I'm fine with, even if he misses the first half of the year, as long as he comes back 100%. For the second half, love it, right?
Yeah.
But with Porzingis possibly missing the first 30, 40 games of the year, probably losing Cornette to free agency, I'm sorry. The Celtics, they have to trade either Peyton Pritchard or Sam Hauser or Derek White. They have to
Oh,
trade one of them for an actual top six center slash power forward that could take the place of Porzingis for a while. Because Matt, remember, Horford's only effective if his minutes are down. Do you think Horford's minutes are going to be down? You think he's going to go into the playoffs fresh if Porzingis missed the first half of the year and they're leaning on him for the first half? I just don't. I think it's really important for the Celtics to get another big man, someone better than Tillman. I like Tillman. No, I want a big man who fits in just after, Tatum, Brown, Porzingis, Holiday. Like someone good enough where you'd probably put him in front of Horford, Hauser, or Pritchard.
wow.
And I'm just so worried about their front court depth now and what they're going to do to Horford with Porzingis out for possibly the first half of the year. It kills me to say that. Keep White. That's fine. If you trade White for a big man, he better be a really good big man. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want some bum. I want a big man that's gonna, pull in, 15 points and like 9 rebounds a game, like, and play like 35 minutes. I want a legit good big man who can hit a three, by the way. Not be 40% from three, but is at least a 3-point threat and could defend on the perimeter. So I want the
So,
stars if
so,
you're going
so,
to give
so,
up White. I want someone
oh my
really good if you're
gosh.
going to give up White.
So
But
this is the
at the
problem.
very
This is the
least,
problem. Go ahead. Sorry. Go
you
ahead.
have to give up either Hauser or Pritchard to get a legit big man to take some of the load off Horford. And, then we'll be fine going into the playoffs.
So this is the problem, Dad. When you have these hot takes, you got to come with names because you are just like crafting this imaginary basketball player who's you know great defending, defend Giannis, defend Embiid, will play a bunch of games, hit 40% from three, do all these things, be available, and um, also you need that player to make less money than Derek White because
Hmm.
we would need to sign and trade Derek White. So I
Right.
think you kind of did this last year when you were talking about DeMarcus Cousins and all that nonsense. So I don't know. I'm going to sell this. I don't think that the Celtics need to do any more than. Actually, I'm going to buy this. I'm sorry, you sold. I'm buying. I'm
Yes.
buying that Celtics are good to stand pat. Xavier Tillman's only 25 years old and I think he can bring a lot to the table. I think he did really well defensively. I think you hold on to Sam Hauser like your life depends on it because a locked in Sam Hauser will 100% be the difference maker in a lot of these playoff games. He comes in for 10, 12 minutes, hits two out of his three threes, and plays defense on Doncic like that. You're almost impossible to beat. And then otherwise, Tatum, Tillman, Kata. I know Kata, you're probably going to laugh at me here, but Nemus Kata, get him in there and then just see what you can find on the big veteran market. I mean, I'm going to have to go around and search for some names. So, yeah, Dad, I don't think there's any way you get rid of Derek White. You would let him walk. Um, I also don't think you even want to let it get out that you're shopping
We
him.
don't let him
And I,
walk. We trade him, get something for him. And Kata,
yeah,
I like Kata, but Missoula's not playing him. He can't hit a three. He can't defend on the perimeter. I could be sold on Tillman if he spends the entire offseason jacking up threes and getting better at it. But Matt, you would need Tillman to come back on the veteran minimum. I don't know if he is. He just won his ring with us. Is he coming back on a veteran minimum? Because we're at the second apron. We don't have a mid-level exception. We can only get veterans to sign at the minimum. That's all we could bring in. So I
yeah.
mean, I guess if Tillman's gonna get better at threes and come back on the veteran minimum, I'm in. But otherwise, without a trade, Matt, it's really hard.
All right, listen, another food for thought. Derek White is not going to sign that reduced money extension this summer if you tell him you're going to trade him, right? So I mean, and I think that there's some level of honor within the league where I don't think they can get rid of him that way. I don't think they can say, "Hey, Derek, sign this hometown discount. Don't hit free agency next year and make probably another $10 or $15 million more a year for the rest of your career. Sign here and play with us, and then in the next month you flip him." So I don't know. I just don't see Derek White being a trade piece. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be really interesting. I think that if they go into next season with this roster, I'm pretty darn happy as long as they add some sort of vet min, centers. Maybe Tristan Thompson from Cleveland. He gave us some trouble during the playoffs. You find what you can at the center position because at the end of the day, come the playoffs, those guys don't matter, Dad. Right? This team is playing for the playoffs. Get in at the 8th seed. And what are they going to do, Dad? What are they going to do if they're the 8th seed and they go into somebody else's house? What's the nickname they have?
Road killers.
Road killers. Give me any seed, get into the playoffs with this starting six, with Horford in there, KP healthy, I'm good. My mom will be crushed if Derek White leaves. Jeff Unknown, I'm so sorry, and I don't blame you if you don't want to listen to the old bull again after that take. I am appalled that he would even suggest Derek White in a
Listen, you
trade.
two. I didn't
Just
say trade him. I just said him, Hauser, or Pritchard. You have to trade one for a legit good big man, like a good big man. And he's the one I'd least rather get rid of, of
yeah,
course, and sign him to a long-term deal. Absolutely. But I'm just saying it's just it could come back to bite the Celtics. They lean on Horford too much with Porzingis out the first half of the year, and they go into the finals. If Porzingis gets another injury, now they get a tired Horford, and Porzingis isn't playing. They got nothing in the
yeah,
front court, and
yeah.
they're going to
Listen,
overextend Tatum because he's a power forward on this team.
we just won a championship and you're already letting the pessimism flow out of you. Come on, have some optimism.
Thinking
I mean,
ahead,
this team
thinking
this
ahead.
team can win without Porzingis. They've already proven it. Never mind if they have Porzingis and we're going to avoid injuring him for like an extra few months. He's not going to the Olympics, which is a huge win for us. So, a lot of time on that topic. Jeff Unknown's just coming in. He's one of our big Celtics guys. What's up, Jeff, man? He's a Lions fan as well. I think that's Jeff Unknown. We're going to be doing a little bit of hockey here, Jeff, real quick. We got Nirvana, Nevermind. So the reason why I have this here is because this is actually my dad's buy or sell. This statement, Dad, do you buy or sell this? Draisaitl's finals performance was so bad or lackluster that we should no longer pursue him. Are you buying that or are you selling that?
Oh no, they should still try to pursue him.
Okay.
Absolutely. I mean, yeah. Let's not get crazy. I was hoping with his stock down a little bit, you know, his stock down after that Cups, he was kind of injured, but we lost what would have been a major trade chip in Allmark. He would have been part of the package that Edmonton would have wanted. They've been dying for a goalie for a year. I guess Skinner was pretty good, but I'm pretty sure that Edmonton would rather upgrade to Allmark over Skinner. I mean, give me a break with that, and I don't know what other package they could have threw together to get him, but man, I felt like the time could have been right if we just kept Allmark and then broke the bank for Edmonton for him. And, as long as he's willing to sign an extension with us, and I just feel like
Yeah.
it's kind of a lost opportunity.
I got a question for you. Would you have included Lorai in an Olmark trade for Draisaitl? If Draisaitl
Yep.
committed to signing long term, you would have. Okay.
Yep. Yep. And
Yep.
I love
Yep.
Lowry. You know how much
Big
I love
Lorai.
Lowry. He is next year our number one defenseman. Sorry, Charlie. And I think Charlie's going to be better off as the number two because he looked like he was under pressure last year in those playoffs because he was, we won't revisit that how much he was choking last year. It was brutal to watch. But yep, Lowry, Patras, absolutely for Draisaitl, who's I think 28 and a
Yeah.
top 3 center in the league. Sign me up today, tomorrow, and next year, and 10 years from now.
Yeah, I'll join you. I'm going to sell this. Draisaitl's finals performance isn't great. I know a lot of that team is a product of McDavid, right? Pretty much anybody who's around McDavid is going to be a product of McDavid. So I get that a lot of his numbers are inflated, but
They don't
I
play
think he's
together a lot. They keep them separate. They do put them together when they're losing late in the game, but generally they keep them apart the whole game.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, I mean I agree. Leon would be amazing for Boston. I think he was hurt during the finals. Oh, so Jeff,
He
so
was.
we'll count that as a sell for Jeff. Jeff believes that pursuit of Drysaitel should not halt because of his performance. And I think it's tough with the Bruins because Jeff, I know you're of course a Celtics fans like us, and um, this year we had a lot of finishers, a lot of closing happening. We really didn't play with our food. The Bruins have almost the opposite, where they can't seem to close anything. They give up so many
No.
third period leads. They choke away multiple series leads. Over the past few years, painful series leads. So the thought of Draisaitl coming in and then joining this choker heart of a team that we have in this Bruins. I'm sorry, guys. It's just that's what it feels like. Um, it would just be a bit scary for me, but I'll still sell it because I still think he's
Now,
incredibly talented. Um,
take them
all right,
all
so
day.
next up, so this is kind of a general uh sports one, and I picked the team for this one, Dad, just so you know. So you got a bunch of guys climbing a rock wall here trying to get to the top first. You got one guy jumping off. We'll assume that guy is the Boston Celtics. All right, so the statement is after the Boston Celtics, the Bruins are most likely to win the next championship for New England. Do you buy that, Dad, or do you sell it?
So, despite their recent woes in their culture, I feel like yes, they are because they do have all that cap space. Let's see if they break the bank and bring in some offensive talent to go with their elite goaltending in the playoffs and pretty damn good defensive core. You know, as long as Limholm can get his act together. The Red Sox, they have promise, but I'm sorry, they're so young that we'll talk about them later. I just don't think they're close to a championship. And the Patriots, forget it. Like the Patriots are they're probably at least 2 years this season coming up and the season after making the playoffs. They're probably 3 years away from at least making the playoffs. So no, to me, it's still the Bruins. They still have enough high end talent, stars, all that good stuff with the cap space. If Sweeney doesn't blow the cap space, then I feel like out of those three, that's our best shot of winning a championship. So not great. Um, oh, Matt, I'm having trouble hearing you.
Oh,
I
whoops.
can't hear you.
My bad. My bad.
Yeah.
Jeff Unknown coming in a little off topic, but we are talking about hockey and we're talking about this hockey team. I think it involves some of the players that happened that played in the finals. So a little off topic, but I'm curious to know if the Old Bull was surprised that Edmonton pushed a game seven. I mean, Dad, what were your
I was
thoughts
super
on?
surprised. Super surprised.
Yeah.
I thought they were dead, buried. I stopped watching. And then the next thing I know, I'm like, "Wait, that series is tied?" I'm like, "What are you talking about?" I didn't even watch the 3. I was like, "That's over." And and then I watched the whole game 7, and what a battle that was. And God, that was just I just shut it off. The second they won that cup, I just shut that off. I could not watch that
Yeah.
scumbag, cheap shot, Panther team. I couldn't watch it.
It's so
They were the
painful.
best team. They deserved it. They were. I have to, eat crow with those guys. It was just painful for me personally as a Bruins fan to watch it. But yeah, Jeff, I was really surprised by that. Absolutely.
Yeah, and you talked about being close to a championship, and I think one of the ways the Bruins get close to a championship is by signing the guy who scored the go-ahead goal for that Panthers team in Sam Reinhart. Sam Reinhart was big for them this playoffs. I think he had 10 goals. I don't know how many assists he had, but uh, that guy shows up. He's a gamer and he's on the market. And we've talked about uh, how do we see this Bruins team rebuilding? And a lot of the way that we see them rebuilding is by poaching the players off of the two teams that were in the finals. Whether it's
There you go.
Drysaitel via trade, um, you know, I think Montour is coming up. Reinhardt. I'm not saying I want Montour or anything like that, but the Panthers are going to have a lot of decisions to make financially, and like you said, there's a hard cap
Absolutely.
over there. So yeah, I'm going
Yep.
to buy that the Bruins are next up, and then I think the Patriots are so far away. We have
No.
entered the lottery that is the quarterback carousel, and if Drake May hits, then we could be contenders in 2 years, like you
Sure.
said, Dad,
Yep.
or we're back at the drawing board in a couple years. My Jeff Unknown knows this, right? Football, I think, is one of the tougher sports to rise from the depths in. The Lions really did that
Yeah.
this year. So shout out to the Lions. I'm a Lions fan this year in a lot of ways. But I don't see the Patriots being able to rise up until they get that quarterback. And the pessimist side of me just doesn't think that Drake May is that quarterback. And Reinhardt isn't one of the players on the Florida that played dirty. So I'd be happy for him to come. I totally agree, Jeff Unknown. Reinhardt has not, he was a pretty classy guy, got his job done, and there's a lot of pressure this year and a contract year for him, probably the biggest contract he's going to get in his career. And he showed up this year. He like almost broke
Yeah.
records for the goals, the amount of power play goals he was bringing to the table. So, guy's a finisher. He's a gamer, and by all accounts, he's pretty classy. So, no, I agree. So, yeah, let's
All right. We're
move
gonna speed
on.
a little bit.
Go ahead. What's that?
Getting close to 9.
Speed it
We gotta
up.
speed this up a
Oh
little
yeah,
bit.
we're getting
Yeah,
close to 9.
just a
We don't
little.
want to.
Yeah.
We got the stuff going on. Everyone's gonna be watching. So
We'll lose
next
our
up,
millions of viewers. Yeah.
yes, yeah. So we got the wild card here, and the reason we have the wild card is that this is something else. My dad's one here, and the statement is the Red Sox are serious wild card contenders. Dad, are you buying that or are you selling that? Oh, actually, wait. You know what? Before we do that, Jeff, if you're here, I know you're a big Celtics guy. Uh, we had one person in here for this first one, and this first one was regarding a worthy opponent. We won't spend too much time on it, but I'm curious, Jeff. Do you believe that the Knicks are the like number one threat? Are you buying that the Knicks are now the number one threat in the East for the Celtics? So I'm very curious your thoughts on that, Jeff. And also I'm curious if you're buying that the Celtics can stand pat with their roster and just sign Tillman. So buy or sell that the Celtics don't have to make any crazy moves outside of their team, and buy or sell that the Knicks are now the number one contender for us in the East. So I'll let you chew on that. Hopefully, you're still here and you can respond. We will move on to the Red Sox one, and we'll circle back to your answers in a second. But the wild card, the Boston Red Sox are a serious wild card contender, Dad. Do you buy it or do you sell it?
I felt like the fact that if the season ended today, they would be in the playoffs with a wild card justifies us doing the segment. You and I kind of vowed to not give them a time of day until the
Yeah.
owners start acting like the Boston Red Sox. I'm completely selling this. They're a good little story now. You're telling me they're going to keep this up, this young team that's streaky and actually quite injury prone as well. It's just no way. This team, it doesn't have those like killer that killer role like we used to have, the deadly 3, 4, 5, 6 hitters that when your pitching struggled, those 3 or 4 guys would just carry you like back in the David Ortiz, Manny Ramirez era, like, Dustin Bachoy. They just don't have that. They're so young. They're so sporadic with where they get their contributions from. It's only a matter of time before they have a not just one bad losing streak, probably a couple that's going to bury them. But hey, I felt like I should at least bring it to the attention because if the season ended now,
Yeah.
they're in the playoffs.
Yeah. No, I'm so you know what? I'm gonna buy this. And one of the big reasons you mentioned were the injuries. So they don't have Tristan Cassis right now. They're going to be bringing him back. They just got, I think, the Abreu kid just came back. They're adding their pieces back, and they're on a decent win streak here. They're 8-2 in their last 10. Cora's coaching great, and I think one of the biggest additions in the offseason was this Andrew Bailey guy. This pitching rotation is pitching outside of their minds, way above and beyond, which I really respect. So, yeah, Dad, I'm gonna buy this. I think that they 100% can compete in the AL. It's going to be interesting. It's less. I think going to be less about the Red Sox and more about the competition. right? Are the other teams that good or that much better than them? So I'm going to buy that they're going to probably squeak in with the wild card. They might lose in the wild card game or in the play-in game, but I think that they might have one exciting game this year.
I thought we were gonna become best friends. I thought we were
Yeah,
gonna practice karate in the garage, but we've been
not after
disagreeing
that.
on almost every one of these. So I just, you're buy every time I buy it, you sell. You know what? That's it. We're out. There's no more of that.
All right, and that's actually
Mm.
perfect timing. So we asked Jeff Unknown to give us some thoughts, and one of the primary ones, or the first one, was about the Knicks being the number one contender for us in the East. And he says, I'm going to take a guess and say the 76ers will surprise everybody and be more dangerous for Boston, but definitely the Knicks seem to be the more to have made some important moves this offseason. Yeah, Jeff, right now,
You missed it,
all
Jeff.
cards in.
Earlier, I said that. I said the
Yeah.
Sixers. They got a lot of cap space. Let's see who they put with Embiid and Maxey. So I'm with you, Jeff.
Nah, I don't know. Don't you try and take Jeff's thunder, you filthy Derek White trade proposaler. I don't know. Listen, listen. As the teams are broken up right now, I think the Knicks are the tough team. But if the 76ers can manage to bring in Paul George and pair him with Embiid and Maxi without losing too much of their depth, because they really don't have much depth at all, that'll be really interesting. But it also be a very injury prone team between Embiid and Paul George. So that's going to be something you got to consider. So yeah,
We'll see.
I'm gonna keep it here at buy, and I definitely agree with the old bull. Then no, I think the old bull agrees with you, Jeff. Don't give him that credit. All right, so these next couple. So one of them I have no freaking idea what it was. This one will be pretty short. Father's Day. Happy Father's Day. Um, Tonight we had a historic draft pick made. We had the LA Lakers picking Bronny James to play with his dad, the first father son duo to ever play together in the NBA. The statement is buy or sell. Bronny James going to the Lakers was 100% because of his dad, and he is not enough of an NBA talent to be drafted in the first 2 rounds.
Yeah, I mean, I'm completely buying that. He's not an NBA talent. It was because of his dad. But I tell you what, though, I wanted I wanted him, Bronny, to either go to the Lakers or the Celtics.
Yeah, yeah.
Hold that kid hostage. Kid, come sign a veteran minimum. And we'll see if we play you. Maybe we will. Maybe we don't. I don't know. But I obviously that's kind of a mean whatever, blah blah blah. But I wanted him to go to the Lakers because I want LeBron on the Lakers. I don't want LeBron as a free agent going to a legit title contender. I feel like when it's just him and Anthony Davis, they're not going to win a championship. I know they won one a few years ago in the bubble, but they're older now. Both of them are. They don't have the
Yep.
surrounding pieces. So I want him staying exactly where he is. Did you want LeBron going to the Sixers or some other contender with cap space? Absolutely not.
No, and honestly, like for me, I don't see LeBron. LeBron would have needed to sign a max contract. I think it's similar to Brady, right? Where Brady had to sign contracts that were higher because the players' union just simply wouldn't let him. Like it would be so bad for the players' union for LeBron to go sign a
Yeah.
vet minimum
He's
somewhere.
LeBron James, Matt.
I know
He
he's
does what
LeBron
he
James.
wants.
I know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you know, in any case, I'm 100% buying this with you. If you go look at Bronny James's stat lines and
Mm.
ESPN, for USC, he was probably not even good enough to play, garbage time minutes for USC this season, and USC sucked. So it's crazy. Here we are talking about him. No offense to the kid. I wish nothing but the best. He'll have nothing but the best. His family has generational upon generational wealth. Um,
Mhm.
no harm, no hate against him. Uh, it is what it is. Sometimes your dad gets you a job at his doctor's, in his doctor's, office, like Dr. Doback and Dale. Uh, and
And you're
sometimes
part
your
of
dad
the
gets
family
you
business.
the family
Yeah.
business. He's joined the family business as a professional NBA basketball player. So whatever that is.
Yeah.
All right. So we got our final buy or sell. My dad, you're gonna have to make the statement, okay? And I guess I'll lead
Okay.
us off at the buy or sell, okay? What's the
All
statement?
right. So non-sports related. And unfortunately, The young Cav's not going to be able to join in on this one because he's only seen one of these movies. All right. Probably going to be super controversial. Best sequel ever. Aliens 2, Empire Strikes Back, or The Godfather Part 2. And I'm telling you people now, I know what you're probably going to say. I have bad news for you. Greatest sequel of all time, and the second greatest movie, by the way, ever made, Aliens 2.
Aliens 2.
Beats The
That's
Godfather, beats Empire Strike Back.
I don't
Absolutely.
even know if that's exactly a buy or sell. I think that's just so we'll put it as you buy that Aliens 2 was the second best movie ever. Which one is Aliens 2?
Best
Is that
sequel
the
ever.
which
So
what is
Aliens is the one where there's just an S at the end of it. So the first one was Alien. The second one was Aliens.
okay?
Made by James Cameron. James Cameron made Terminator 2. Amazing. Oh, made The Abyss, made Titanic. Amazing director. And man, let me tell you, that was my favorite movie for the longest time. Was the second Aliens movie until Unforgiven came along, and that took its place as number one movie all time. But yep, I just want to throw that out there. All right,
Yeah,
you know,
listen. It was on your heart.
rub
You
my
wanted to.
old people the wrong
I
way.
can't
Yep.
even. I can't even find Aliens 2. Aliens is
It's not
so
Aliens
there's
2, it's just
Alien and then
Aliens.
Aliens. Oh, okay, that's the
That's
one.
it.
Is that the
Aliens 2 has the S at the end. That's it. There's no 2. Yeah.
okay? An Alien. Which one is Alien? Because that lady's in all of them, right? Is that Sigourney Weaver? Is that her name?
Sigourney Weaver was, yeah, she was in most of them. I mean, Jeff Unknown too. Terminator 2 is pretty worthy of being with that group. Absolutely. Like if you're gonna add a fourth, that's probably the movie to add. But I'm sorry, even above Terminator 2, that second Aliens movie, that is the creme de la creme of suspense, action, and badassery. It was great.
Listen, I think Jeff Unknown hit it on the head with the Terminator 2. I think Terminator 2 is almost more memorable than Terminator 1. I think it's
Oh
the
yeah.
better of the two movies. And, you know, yeah, I mean, Empire's interesting. Those Star Wars movies are tough. Because they're kind of all over the place. You don't think Kung Fu Panda like 7 was one of the best sequels ever? You don't think
I
because they've
mean,
made
oh, this don't throw that decision at me, man.
I
Now
know,
I got to
right?
rethink everything. Yeah,
Kung
no.
Fu Panda. Despicable Me like 4 is coming out or 5, so
Yeah,
it's gonna be interesting. But no,
that
Terminator
is
2.
your
These
idea of a good movie because of your world.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Listen, these are all movies. Jeff, I'm sure you probably can put these movies on for your third or fourth grade class, Aliens and everything. I'm sure they would love that. But eventually, my son and I are going to be able to watch these movies together. And I think the
Yes.
Terminator series is 100% one of them.
Yeah.
Alien and Aliens is probably going to take a little bit longer because I don't want to deal with nightmares. But John Wick 4 was
So
pretty
good.
amazing. I had no idea John Wick had 4 movies.
Oh, those
That
movies
is,
are so good. I love John Wick movies. Apparently, he was like a superhero in the fourth one, though. It's just the punishment he took and kept going was insane. But anyway,
yeah. Yeah, the creative ways in which they find to kill people is always impressive by those writers and directors with John
yeah,
Wick.
yeah.
So, my dad is of course made of like 7 boxes. He's been hiding his little bit of a lag in his tiny little image. Um, I think that's it, Dad. I think that's the podcast.
Yes,
It's really been a trio here. We should have had just Jeff join the call. I should have just copied the link and sent it to him.
we
Um,
should have.
maybe next time.
We'll have to do
Maybe
that
next time.
someday.
Listen, if we only got one guy in here, we might as well just get him in here just to talk. Jeff, we'll probably do another buy and sell next week, or we'll do something similar if you're around and it's just you and us. Maybe I'll send you the link. Just get you just got to set it up. So yeah, I appreciate everybody who took the time to watch this later and had their insight. It's always a lot of fun creating these things and chatting, and I'm glad we have so much to talk about because all of our teams are pretty interesting this year. Dad, any other final closing thoughts?
No, that's it. Just please subscribe to our YouTube channel if you haven't already. That's a big deal for the show, and thank you for tuning in.
Yep. All right. Good night. All right, Jeff. We'll hold you to it, man. We'll hold you to it. Next time, I'll just say, you know what? Just click on this
Special
link, buddy.
guest appearance. Absolutely.